Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike from Budget Gaming, back for another WoW Classic guide. This week we are going to be talking about the class Warlock. If you've never played a Warlock, a little overview is they are demon summoners. They also use affliction and destruction, which is like arcanic and fire, but for Warlock, not for mage. But the biggest difference between them and a mage or any other caster is that they can summon demons, and they use them like pets, just like hunters. This first screen can show you some of the demons that you can summon. So the first one you get is an imp, and it is a basic goblin looking creature that can fire a fireball at your enemies. The second one you get is the Voidwalker, and it's more of a tank. It's like a giant elemental made of arcane that goes up and taunts the enemy and has the most health, I believe, out of all of the demons that you can summon. Later in the game you get an Inferno, which is another type of elemental. It's a fire elemental that comes out and does some damage for you. And then finally one of the other ones that, well, there's a few more, but you can summon a Succubus, which uses a whip and does mostly damage, kind of tanky. And then there's a Fell Hunter, which is also kind of tanky, but does more damage typically than the Voidwalker. So it's like an improved Voidwalker. So here we can see the 3 different talent trees that you have to choose from. Warlocks are very good at PvP and PvE. They're also very fun to quest. The only thing I don't personally like about them is that they have to use cloth armor, which is the case for most casters. So if you are looking to just do some questing and do some PvE, you may want to throw some points into Demonology because it does increase your stamina and makes you take a hit better. However, today we're going to go for the classic PvE dungeon and raid build. So we will not be putting any into Demonology, as it does typically the least amount of damage, but it is good for questing because you can send your pets out to do certain things. So with this build we're going to be doing 31 points into Affliction, 0 into Demonology, and 20 into Destruction. The first thing you're going to want to get is Suppression, all the way up to 5. What this does is it makes it harder for your enemies to resist your affliction spells, which is going to be the biggest part of your kit. We're going to go for improved Drain Soul here, and it gives you a 50% chance to get a 100% increase in your mana regeneration for 10 seconds if the target dies while you're draining their soul. And we're going to go for improved Life Tap as well, and then finally, just because we have one leftover point, we're going to throw that into improved Drain Life so we can get more life off of our life drain. Now our next curse that we like to look at is Curse of Agony. That curses the target with Agony, causing 1044 shadow damage over 24 seconds. It's dealt slowly and then builds up speed over the course of the duration. And of course only one curse per Warlock can be on the target, so we definitely want to improve our Curse of Agony. Now Curse of Agony is going to be one of our main curses that we are going to be using, so I definitely want to get Amplify Curse here. And then Fell Concentration, I'll throw a point in that just to use our point real quick. Now I do like increasing the range, so I believe we're going to put 2 into that. And we could go for the mana here, but we already have stuff to give us mana and reduce the mana of our spell, so I think that's going to be okay. But Shadow Bolt is part of Destruction, which is the other half of our build here, so I think we're going to go with Nightfall because it increases the damage of your Shadow Bolt after using a Corruption or Drain Life spell. And we're going to go back and put our 1 point into Fell Concentration. Now this next one is good for PvP, the Curse of Exhaustion. Because this is not a PvP build, I'm not going to get the curse. It doesn't really do anything as far as bosses, because it just slows their movement speed, and usually bosses are just in one place, not usually running around too much. other than like they're just one building, but most of them are elites anyway, and you can't slow down most of the bosses, so it doesn't really make sense to do that here. However, Siphon Life is an amazing ability, and it only takes 1 point, and that's when we can go back and fill up our Fel concentration all the way and throw one more into Improved Drain Life. Shadow Mastery, it increases the damage dealt or life drained by your shadow spells. That's exactly what we need here. And to finish it off, we end with Dark Pact, which drains 150 of your pet's mana, returning 100% of that to you. And that is going to be really big, because again, here we're not going to be using our pets too much, relying them on them to do the damage. We're going to be doing the damage ourselves. So sapping their mana might put them at a disadvantage, but who cares? So here, that's pretty standard across any Warlock. At this point, it's whether you want to do more questing or do more competitive raiding. If you want to do more competitive raiding like we're going to be doing today, we're going to throw it into Destruction. But like I said at the beginning, if you want to do some raiding, try to put some points into Demonology, because your Void Walker can tank for you, and that'll make questing a lot easier. And it also increases your own stamina, at the cost of reducing your spirit, which is going to reduce the amount of damage you do. So if you're trying to do the most damage, I don't recommend Demonology, but if you're trying to play casually and do some questing and get through the game faster or more efficiently, then definitely throw some points into here. Here, we already said we're going to be using Shadow Bolt. We got the improved Shadow Bolt on our affliction part, so we're definitely going to be throwing all 5 points into our Shadow Bolt, and that is going to increase the damage dealt to the target by 20% until 4 non-periodic damage sources are applied. Effects last a maximum of 12 seconds. So this is going to be better in small group, so dungeons more than raids, because as soon as you put this, hit them with a Shadow Bolt, it's not going to be as effective because 4 people are going to hit it real quick, and it's just going to drop off. But in a 5-man group where there's one healer that shouldn't be doing any damage, it should be a little more effective, but definitely effective for questing. Aftermath is good for PvP. It dazes the target. It shouldn't really matter too much in raids, so we're going to throw it all into Bane, which reduces the casting time of our Shadow Bolt and Emulate spells. And because we're not going to be using our pets too much, I don't really care about the improved Firebolt or Lash of Pain by our Imp or Succubus respectively, so we're definitely going to throw it into the Crit Strike. There is an argument about Shadow Burn. It's not an affliction spell, although it really should be. But you do get a soul shard from it, so if you wanted to put a point into that, you could, but I'm looking to use these as my filler abilities in our rotation, so I definitely want the Crit Strike so they can still do as much damage as my affliction spells. So I'm putting all 5 into that. Range would be cool if you wanted to put increased range. You already have the increased range of your affliction, so I'm thinking you start with your affliction and then the enemies come in, and that's when you start doing some of your destruction in your rotation. And here again, you could do this. It gives you 35% chance to resist interruption caused by damage, but it's only when channeling your Rain of Fire, Hellfire, or Soulfire spell, which are all destruction spells, which is not what we're going to try to be doing here. So I'm actually going to throw it all into Improved Searing Pain, and that's going to give us the Crit Strike chance by 10% in Searing Pain, and that's going to be one of our main spells that we fill in the gaps with in our rotation. So that is the 31-0-20 Affliction Destruction build for a Warlock in World of Warcraft Classic. Be sure to check out my other builds. I have a Shaman build for an off-tank already set up, and there will be more to come. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Share this with your other WoW friends, and come back and look for an announcement for the guild on WoW Classic. As far as I know, this channel will be on Fairland server on the Horde side, and I'm not sure what for the Alliance side, but I will have a Shaman and a Paladin, because those are the Horde and Alliance classes. And I want to have a guild on each for my viewers to join and do raids and dungeons with me. So if you're into that, please leave a comment, and once that is up and running, I will have a video about details about how to join that guild. So thanks for watching. Bye.